Sean, it's great to meet you. I enjoyed the film. I actually saw it this morning.
Oh, you did?
And I was wowed by it. It was absolutely outstanding piece of work.
Thank you.
You've apparently had this in your head for sort of quite a long time. How long has that been going on for you in terms of a personal sort of project to get to the screen?
I saw a documentary in 2001, and from there started to research, and on and off, kind of between other projects, gathered a lot of information about the operation, and then about 2005 started to do trips to Prague and meeting with the official, bodies there, like the War Museum and the Ministry of Defence. They opened up their archives, and I was able to, go and see a lot more than I was able to sort of get out elsewhere. So it started to look like a real project around that time. Yeah.
Excellent. I was actually embarrassed. I didn't know anything about it, which is shocking, really, because it's quite a pivotal part of World War II, isn't it?
Yeah, but it seems to be a lost part of World War II. I think it's a part of the Czech history that was sort of squashed when the communists, took over, and so people weren't owning up to being involved in this because it would get them shot from the Communist Party. So. It sort of went underground at that point, and I think that's maybe why it's become a little bit of a forgotten part of the history.
It's a film very much two halves, really. The lead up to the actual incident and the events, and then obviously the aftermath of it. That's a clear structure in the film, but how did that change over those 15 years or so? Was it always going to be structured that way, or?
Well, I mean, the story is immense, and it's. It could be 12 hours. So you go, well, what part of it do you tell? Is it a TV series? You start to try and figure it out what it is you want to say. And I think, at a certain point, it became very obvious to me that I wanted to go on this mission with Jan and Josef, and I wanted to know what it was like to be them. So the audience kind of goes with them on this mission, literally on the shoulders, and puts them in the shoes of Jan and Josef. So it was very much that was the point of view, and I think once you've got that, then a lot of the other stuff that happens without them knowing sort of falls by the wayside, and you kind of have your very clear, direct line. But once that was figured, it was very much landing in Prague, finishing in church. Yeah, it seemed very like a clear way of structuring the movie.
And did you shoot it sort of in order, or was it?
No, I wish. No, we sort of. The only thing we did do is we did do the crypt last, which was pretty emotional because it was literally the last thing we did, and so it was kind of. I remember sort of hugging Cillian at the end of it, and it really was like. Not only was I saying goodbye to him, but I was saying goodbye to his character as well. So yeah,
and the project because it's,
and the project, yeah.
And sort of, how important and how difficult was it to balance sort of being historically accurate and then creating an exciting sort of movie to watch, because it is pretty powerful, but it's also quite an epic journey as well.
Yeah, historically, I wanted it to be very correct. So I didn't want to mess with any of with that aspect that we all know about. But obviously you don't know about the sort of characters or personalities of the people involved. So that's where you start to dramatise the sort of internal and external action of the characters, and that's where you come in as a writer. But yeah, it's a nice. You sort of know when you're crossing the line. It's very clear that you're going, well, that didn't happen, and you go, am I comfortable with that? And then if you can justify it, then and it makes it a better film, then okay, go with God. But if not, then you sort of say, I don't think I'm comfortable with that. I think we should keep it, as is.
And how is it? Cause there's some pretty intense scenes in there, especially during the second half. How is it to recreate that on a set environment? Because it's I mean, I turned away a couple of times, but having to do that must have been quite drawing, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really remember much about it, actually. It was just like one of those things that you kind of go through, and then a bit like having a child in a weird way. Yeah. It was like, and then it was over. But we planned it meticulously. The church was built as an exact replica of the original church from the plans. We knew pretty much by going to the church where grenades had gone off. Okay. So we were able to say to the effects people, this is where the grenades had gone off. We knew from the Gestapo reports where they were found. So we know that Apolka died here, and Bublik died here, and Josef and Jan were here. And so you're a detective kind of piecing it together. And then the production design built me a 1/6 church, which I was able to go inside and use 1/6 action figures.
Oh, wow.
And then photographed pretty much the whole sequence from using cameras and photographing and using the actual light that would come through the church. So we were able to pretty much figure out the lighting from the model and what camera lenses we were going to be using and how much of the background you would see. And then we were able to give those to the special effects guys. So while the big church was then being built for the real size, they were able to take my storyboards and they were able to say, okay, in this frame, we're going to need 6 squibs in this background and 6 squibs in that background because he's using a 50mm lens and that's what we can see. Yeah. So it was all built up like that. And then shooting chronologically through that sequence, we went from storyboard to storyboard to storyboard, and I think it took us, a total of 3 or 4 days, the battle sequence.
It's intense and epic, and it obviously is a truly wonderful film, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Best of luck with it.
Thank you.